coach. Brian Flores joins me now, along with his attorneys, Doug Wigdor and John Elefterakis. Good to have you gentlemen here. Coach Flores, great to have you here.
Great. Thank you for having us.
I want to start with this. The decision to file this suit.
Yeah.
I've covered Kaepernick for years now. I have watched what happened to him. He never played in the league again. And he never played in the league when people would sit there at home being like, man, can you use a quarterback in this league? Are you worried about what this means for your future and why'd you decide to do it?
That's a question I've been asked a lot, and something I've thought about a lot. Something we talked about a lot as we came to the decision to file a lawsuit. And at the end of the day, this isn't about me. This is about black and minority coaches, black and minority leaders who don't get an opportunity to showcase their skills, their leadership, their acumen, their intelligence, their abilities in whatever field it is. And in my case, and in NFL's case, as coaches and leaders in this league. Look, I love coaching. I love it. I mean, it's a passion of mine. It's something that I feel like I'm gifted to do. And there's a lot of black and minority coaches who are gifted the same way I am. And we coach so we can impact young people so that they can go on and be not only good players, but good leaders in the community, good husbands, good fathers. It's not just football. It's never been that. And when you're and we don't have enough coaches in leadership positions, black coaches in leadership positions, specifically in NFL. And that's a disservice to me. To me, that's a disservice to the majority of the players that are in the league that are working towards the goal of becoming better players, better teams, that they don't see that as a goal that they can attain because there's nobody in those seats. And I think there's a specific reason why. We need to change the hearts and minds of the people who make those decisions.
I want to talk about your years of the Patriots and your relationship with Bill Belichick. I mean, you started at the ground level of that organization at the age of, 23, right? You'd
23.
Been a player at Boston College. I think you gotten injured. You weren't able to go in the NFL. You start there. You're there 16 years, 4 Super Bowls. What was your experience working up the ladder in there? How do you feel about Bill Belichick?
I had a great experience there. There's a lot of great people in that building. There's a reason why they've had so much success. I learned a lot about the game, myself, how to prepare, how to work, how to coach, how to teach. I grew exponentially when I was there, and there's a lot of things I learned. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people in that building, so I have nothing but good memories there.
What was I think a lot of people I know, and I got to say, everybody's group texts were blowing up about this lawsuit. And they were blowing up particularly about the Belichick text exchange, which is a kind of a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for people who have texted a thing they shouldn't have, for someone who's in your position on the wrong side of it, what was that? What was your reaction in that moment?
Shock, disbelief, disappointment, humiliation. Initially, I thought he was talking to me, but once I found out that that wasn't meant for me, I was certainly in disbelief, certainly upset, and then I had a lot of different emotions about the hiring process and whether or not it was fair, whether or not I was going to get a real opportunity. It didn't sound like that and didn't feel like that. And that ended up being the case.
Chris, think about the fact that it took a mistaken text message to blow the lid off of everything that all black minority candidates for coaching, executive positions, and quite frankly, we know extends societally, have known for a long time and suspected, but you don't have that smoking gun where obviously the numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
There can't just be one qualified black head coach to be a head coach in the NFL. That's ridiculous.
I gotta say, again, I've watched a lot of football. Like, the Dolphins were one of the stories this year. You guys started out 1-7, went 8-1 after that. A team that people had completely counted out was up until I think the 16th or 17th week of the season in the playoff hunt.
Yep.
Much to everyone's, I mean,
Chris,
the record there was pretty clear.
If you look at some of the stuff that happens, not just with the hiring, but with the firing practices as well, there are times in the rare instances when black head coaches are brought in, they're either outwardly asked to tank, or they're just not given the resources. And when that happens, they're put in a position to lose for a year, possibly two, get fired. And then that's when they get a draft pick, they hire a white coach. And the thing that happened here is coach did an exceptional job and won.
Well, that's part of the allegation lawsuit. And one of the most, I think probably the single most explosive claim is this offer that the owner of the Dolphins. Can you tell me about what the conditions were like when he gave you that offer? Under how?
Well, before we get to that, I think, speaking to John's point on, what we deem as bridge coaches who come in and don't really get the resources. Those are oftentimes the jobs that, black and minority coaches get. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. And I stepped into a situation like that. And, to me, I accepted that challenge. I believe in my abilities as a coach, as a leader, as a motivator. So I was up for that challenge, and unfortunately, I was asked to not put my best foot forward and best effort to win ball games, to tank. And look, this game's done a lot for me. It really has. It's opened doors that would have never been open for me, and that's the case not just for me. That's a lot of our players. A lot of the players in our league have that same story, and I think that's part of the reason why I relate so well to players. So to disrespect the game is it's something I wouldn't stand for, and ultimately that strained some relationships in Miami.
I'll keep you here a few more minutes, if that's all right. I want to ask. Just to follow
this may be the first interview I don't say anything with your great opening. We may hire you at our firm to deliver the opening for the trial. I have to let me just say, the only thing I really want to say really is just the courage that Brian has shown to stand up. He is the Rosa Parks of the NFL right now, to show putting himself second, because he's standing up, he's putting a lot on the line, and he's doing it to create this change, and it needs to happen.
I just fielded a call from a coach who, was in tears on the phone because of experiences that he's had and he's dealing with, and it just I even have more I have more peace about this decision.
Oh.
I have more peace about it.
I want to present to you an argument that people will make about the Rooney Rule. It's not my personal view, but people will make it, which is that, okay, fine, there's a little bit of box checking here, but it does get you in the door. They're not in compliance. There's no rule that they have to contemplate you. They just have to interview you, and they did that. And maybe in 1 in 10 circumstances, you knock their socks off and they change direction. And what's so bad about that?
I would say I've heard that, and I understand that thought process to a degree, but I think the NFL is better than that. I think that the change that we need. I don't want to just come up with some new policies and say we're going to do this and do that and check some other boxes. What I'm looking for is a change in the hearts. And when I say I mean that, in the hearts and minds of people who make those decisions. People who haven't spent time with black and minority people over the course of their lives, who aren't comfortable. Mm-hmm. I think that we need to be intentional of opening our minds to forming new relationships with people from different backgrounds, spending time, understanding that there's a different perspective, maybe a better perspective, a different way to build relationships, a different way to communicate.
The Rooney Rule doesn't work. I mean, there's one, as we've said now a couple times, there's one black head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's time for the court to appoint a referee to oversee the NFL. I mean, the commissioner clearly isn't doing a good job at making sure that there's diversity amongst the coaches. It's time. That's why this litigation is so important. They haven't been able to do it on their own, and so now John and myself, and with the help obviously of our client and future clients as well, are going to make them do it.
And you know what? When you talk about this situation, how could it be equal opportunity to get a job when the job is promised before the black or minority candidate interviews? That's not an equal opportunity. And when you're talking about who's in the position of power, they're all white owners, and not anybody who's ultimately going to potentially step out on a limb and really give an opportunity.
I got to say that, and I'm sure you've seen reaction to this, and it's been everywhere, right? A lot of reaction from black folks I know, friends of mine, other people online, of this, like, I have been in that interview, and I have known I was trotted in there for window dressing, and I felt crazy and gaslit about it. Mm-hmm. And they went with another candidate, and there was something sort of re-traumatizing but catalyzing about seeing that text from Belichick to say, you're not crazy.
It confirmed what we thought was happening behind closed doors, and it confirmed that for me. And it's not just in football. It's in a lot of different industries.
Sure. Why was Belichick even consulting with the Bills and the Giants? I mean, last time I checked, he's on the Patriots. He's coached the Patriots. So, like, what is he doing with that information? Makes no sense.
What is the best outcome of this to you?
We create real change. And by that, it's not policies. I don't want any fluff here. That's not what we're looking for.
You just went through the Rooney Rule charade. This
is not about fluff. We need real change. And that to me starts here in your heart.
Yeah.
And you only get that through conversation, through dialogue, through communication. And I'm open to communicate with whoever it is about, what it's like to walk into that type of interview, what it's like for black and minority leaders on the field. I mean, we have a lot of there's different ways to lead on the field. I mean, there's your position, coordinators.
Yeah.
So there's so many qualified and capable leaders on many different staffs in this league, and they need a real opportunity. And we got to be intentional about giving them opportunities.
Well, Coach Flores, Brooklyn's own, it's really wonderful to meet you. Thank you for making the time.
Chris,
Wigdor, John Elefterakis, thank you very much.